Commendatori, Forza Ferrari, Arriva ragazzi. The Sopranos arrived in Italy for this episode, and in my opinion, it took all the heat out of Richie Aprile. He wasn't even in this episode. After such a good episode, you expect to carry on for that, and what? It just kills any momentum it had.
The Sopranos at times kind of reminds me of like a sitcom where it's like episodic television, but it's like not carried over. You know, like those episodic where it's like it's not like a continuous story,
like a Friends.
Yeah, that's kind of what The Sopranos reminds me.
Like, yeah, it's in the same universe, but realistically, you don't need to watch every episode as long as you know the general.
Yeah, they've got so many like standalone episodes that really add nothing to the main story, and I guess you could argue other shows have that, but I do feel like The Sopranos has it more than others. So yeah, we're in Ferrari. I mean, we're in Italy, the home of the Italian Ferrari bottle jobs.
Aye.
And
the Italian stallion.
And this, in my opinion, this was this episode wasn't that great. It was I thought the best stuff about this episode was Paulie thinking that all the Italians would love him,
but they all hated him.
Yeah, just because he was from like America, but they all like didn't have any respect for him because they don't see him as a real Italian.
But no, the problem is with his logic there, right? They have their own crew in Naples, which we see a lot of, right? Why would the average Italian give a fuck about him?
We know who he is.
No, but why would they? They wouldn't. Why is he expecting to care? Your rank in New Jersey means hee-haw in Naples.
Yeah, but the average Italian walking down the street ain't going to know he's got a rank. They don't know who he is.
Exactly.
I felt like Paulie was walking around Italy expecting to be like royalty.
Like, you've got like 5 guys who are Italian, obviously, in conversation at some like cafe, and they're not even looking at him, and he just goes, Commendatori. What the fuck does he want?
And then later on,
jacks?
they're at the dinner, and Tony's discussing figures. They're trying to finalise a deal, and Paulie just butts in. Hey, this is good food, Tony. Tony's like, would you shut the fuck up?
You're like a kid.
and then like later on, he's sleeping with a hooker, and then he starts talking about, oh, we're from the same. Says she doesn't give a fuck. She wants your money. But
I know.
He thinks it's interesting that they're from like the same part of Italy, or his ancestor is from the same part of Italy as her father. It's like, who cares?
I know that.
She's sleeping with you because she paid her. There's nothing. She doesn't give a shit what part of Italy you're from. Like, it was just, I don't know.
It was funny, but...
It was funny, like, but I mean, that was the best part of the show, in my opinion.
It was, but we do kick off the episode. We're in the States. They're watching The Godfather, but it's no working. So Paulie grabs his boot and starts smashing the VHS tape.
Because that's going to fix it, isn't it?
I think it just sums up, though. It's like, we're mint it, man. We'll go and buy another one. Or steal another one, that's which they tend to do. But what's going on here in the prologue of this episode? Basically, a car gets jacked by 2 black guys, and then like the scene like carries over to like Tony going through pictures, and you're obviously thinking here, well, obviously these guys are paying the blacks to steal the cars, because guess what? It's the American way, brother, as Ron Perlman would say. But thoughts on this whole car deal business, because they're stealing cars, right, shipping them back to Italy, and Tony's like, he seems pissed off about the $5,000 that Annalena or Isabel like tries to take off later on in the episode. Realistically, is it not a win-win? You're taking one of our best guys. This whole car business.
Yeah, well, I think we're skipping forward a wee bit.
No, we are skipping forward a bit. I mean, we talked about Paulie, so I'm just want to talk about the car business.
Honestly, I think...
And where does car business come from? We're 16 episodes in, and it's not been fucking mentioned once.
Again, it's just like, let's randomly come up with something that apparently they've been doing for a while.
Aye. Junior's like, aye. We struck us deal in 61. Aye, well, what about season 1?
Yeah. Tony's talking about how much these cars are worth, and then he talks about his cut. It's like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem worth. He wants like 90,000.
Yeah.
Originally he wanted 95,000 for a car that is worth about 120, 130. So he wants over 66%. He wants over 2/3 of the value. And that means the Italians still have to, like, I'm assuming they'd be paying for the transportation fee to get the cars to Italy and then sell the cars on.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're supposed to take, like, less than a third to me, I just didn't get it. Now, you could argue that Tony's taking the risk. I mean, potentially, because he's the one stealing the cars, although he's not doing it, but he's arranging for the cars to be stolen. But I just didn't think Tony's split here on these vehicles was very fair.
No, neither did I, and I just felt like Tony's whole demeanour while in Naples, like the way he was speaking to some of them, it's like, mate, you're a small fish in a fucking huge pond here. And he's sitting here making all these demands. But yet, like back in his house when he says he's going to Italy, Carmela's a bit pissed about it, and his arse drops. He's like, it's just a business trip. See if Tony Soprano's top man, he should be telling his wife here, this is a business trip, this is what puts fucking bread on our table. So how about you know your role and go shopping? Should he not be saying that?
Well, he kind of did tell her to go when he was in Italy. He's like, hey, go get some Chinese. I don't need your fucking opinion. I don't need your permission to go and get a Chinese.
Exactly, but, you know, we do get the whole Italian, oh, that, I mean, it was overdone. It was overplayed extremely. The plane takes off. We land in Italy, right? Big Sal didn't go. Silvio didn't go. It's just Paulie, Tony, and Christopher, right? And the whole time we're there, Christopher just shoots up heroin. And Tony is alright with that. Doesn't even say a word to him about it.
I don't think he knows he's doing it.
Yeah, but he knows it's not. Where is he?
What was the fuck of Tony taking him?
Exactly. No.
What is the point? Like between us, like what was? I guess Tony has to go with backup. He's not going to go to Italy on his own and make him look weak.
But he may as well not take Chris.
But I mean, if he's taking Chris, then Chris is not just sitting in the hotel room the entire time doing drugs. I just don't see how Tony would question that. But as we see later in the episode, Tony was more bothered about the fact that Chris was taking extra time in the airport buying a gift for Adriana. But he wasn't pissed about the fact that Chris went AWOL the entire time they were in Italy.
I think they were there for, 4 days?
And probably Tony never... As soon as they got off the plane, Tony probably never seen Chris again.
Exactly.
It's like, you know... I just feel like a show at times, like the writing is poor.
Big Sal's wife, Angie, basically, her and Big Sal, they're on the rocks here. They're on the verge of divorce. He does not care about her anymore, but it's more to do... I actually feel like they did it gave him a bit more development this episode. That's what I liked about this episode.
Yeah.
But, again, it's almost like it's coming too late. You're giving a guy development when we know he's a rat. Should that not be done when he's not a rat? That's my opinion. He's talking...
Who knows he's a rat? Does his wife know?
No, it's just him. But he meets with Skip. He's basically talking about, Tony, blah, blah, blah. But maybe, actually, he probably didn't go there. But see, that's probably another plot hole. He probably didn't go to Italy because he's not allowed, because he got caught by the police, and he's probably not allowed to leave the country because that would be seen as fleeing. But then again, I guess he did go AWOL at the end of season 1. But anyway, right. He's talking with Skip. Then this Elvis guy walks over and notices him, and then he's like, Skip's from this place. What did he say? He's from Denver or something?
Aye.
And then he's like, I don't know many affiliated guys for Denver. And then the guy sits there for about a solid 15 seconds. And he's like, nah. And then there's just awkward silence. And then Big Sal's freaking out. Skip's like, you did goose, Sal. You did goose, Sal. The guy's got a lisp, and you can't unnotice it, can't you?
No.
Anyway, Big Sal freaks out. Later on, his wife gets a cancer check back. They're all clear.
Clear, buddy.
But he doesn't care because his mind is too preoccupied on taking care of this Elvis guy. So he walks over. He's like, do you need any help with the whole play you're doing or whatever? Children's party. Fireworks. Bang. Good night. Hammer to the back of the dome. Killed him. Bit unnecessary, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I thought, well, it was cold-blooded murder. I don't think this guy was on to anything, like...
But I think it's just trying to show you, this is what paranoia is doing to him.
Yeah, he's willing to close any loose ends, essentially. He's not willing to take a chance.
Like, realistically, like, even if this guy run into Tony, what would the conversation... I bumped into Big Sal and I was with this guy, I don't know.
No, I don't get. How long's Big Sal been with Tony?
In this crew?
I'd
say about over 20 years. Probably over 20 years.
And how long's he been doing this whole...
ratting thing? Well, I don't know. There's some people say since 95. Some people have said he did it. Remember that episode he got caught? There's no actual confirmation.
Surely if he's been doing it for a long time, he would have had enough on Tony and the crew to put him away for good or whatever.
I don't know, that's what I don't get.
I mean, if he's been doing this a long time, then what is the end goal? Like, honestly, what is the end goal?
Yeah, like, it's normally enough to build a case like Rico, but where is the end game? Honestly.
So that makes me think that he recently just turned or whatever, rather than been doing this for the last, like, what, 20 years or whatever. Because if that's the case, then
I think at this point,
why would he still be doing it? Would he not have had enough information to put away the entire fucking crew by now?
at this point, the longest I think most he could have been doing it for is about 4 or 5 years. But that's enough, man. That's way more than enough.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you see in
He'd
other
surely have enough.
you see in other shows,
right
man. It's like it would take a week.
I know. So again,
Opie has turned on us.
to me, that's just more poor writing.
No, it is poor writing, but you know what? Let's just talk about Naples. We meet Furio, and he's basically like the right-hand man of the top man, Don Vittorio. But he won't be present at the dinner. But then it turns out he is at the dinner. This is where we get the scene we were talking about earlier with Paulie and Tony. Again, this big sit-down with Don Vittorio, who's just gone decrepit, let's be real, right? But where is Chris? Paulie's like, he's buying something for Adriana. Was that his excuse for 4 fucking days? You almost get the feeling that once they got out the taxi, Paulie and Tony never seen him again till they were at the airport. That's what it kind of seems like. But this meet goes down. It's awkward because you've got Furio translating from English to Italian for like the maid guys in Italy. And in my opinion, I think it's not a good look for Tony, who's like doing this deal and he hasn't learned a word of Italian.
Yeah. And he's in Italy. Just doesn't look good. Like, does look a bit like disrespect.
Like, and I go back to Paulie. I mean, he thinks he's the man in Italy, but realistically, if you only know 5 words in some language, and you can't be made out to be the Rock.
No, definitely not.
Because he's on about, my grandparents came here, or was it his parents? I think he said his grandparents came here in, 1910? By the time this show came out, that was 90 years ago. That's fucking ancient history.
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck? I mean, honestly, that is irrelevant, man. It is, and I don't know why they think they're expecting to get stuff here, but yeah. But the Italian guy's like, Mamma mia, why is he busting my balls? And Tony's like, what did he just fucking say? Again, you're outnumbered. It's like 2 on 20. Would he really say that?
No, I think he'd keep his cards close to his chest, but nah, Tony here, not too happy.
Paulie. Paulie wants some spaghetti bolognese, and then they're like, this guy, he's like, you thought the Germans had no class, which I thought was a pretty good line. He then goes to the toilet, and then refuses to go to the toilet. And I mean, it wasn't in a good state, but what the fuck? Come on, you're a grown man.
It didn't even look that bad. It was more the toilet seat was hanging off or something.
I know. Honestly, I just didn't really... Paulie's just a weird guy. He's a weird guy. And then when they leave, he's like, I'm going to have to go back to the hotel here. Tony, I need to take a number 2. And then Tony's like, what are you on about? You're just in the toilet.
Shit in there.
And he's like, I didn't need to go then. And he's like, we're just about to meet with the top guys. You can't do this. And Paulie's like, I can. And then firecrackers go off. And then they batter this like 16-year-old. And then Tony and Paulie are freaking out. He's like, he's just a kid. It's firecrackers. Another stupid, weird scene, but we get to see Furio unleash his fury. You can kind of see why Tony wants Furio, because he just seems like a big-nosed bastard, doesn't he?
Aye.
His beak could knock anybody out, but he just seems reliable, this guy. After like 4 scenes.
Unlike the rest of Tony's fucking crew.
Aye, who are just all fat out of shape bastards, like, aren't they, if we're being honest?
Including Tony.
We really are, but Tony does not like the fact that essentially the number 1 in this family is the daughter of the main guy, and because he's senile, Annalisa is essentially the top man in this family. Again, he does not like this because this would not happen in the States, a woman being in control of things. What did you think of this? This was back in 2000. Were they forcing an agenda here, or did this feel legit?
I don't think they were forcing an agenda, because, I mean, it's like the fact they had Tony to speak of his, displeasure of it, I think shows that he didn't approve and that it wasn't a normal thing, and it was kind of like, looked down upon. So I don't believe this was some sort of like, a feminist push. I don't believe that at all. Or else they'd probably had Tony go, you're a great choice to be leader, but he didn't do that. No.
I'm surprised he didn't acknowledge the fact here that this is actually not this is alright. But
yeah.
He didn't. But they're basically, right, they're agreeing these stolen car percentages she doesn't want to give up Furio. Fury's one of her right-hand men. Oh, mamma mia, no, not Furio, no.
No.
I mean, how much is Furio worth, man? Furio's alone wiping off about 25 grand of these fucking cars.
Yeah, I know. Jesus Christ, and that's just per car.
Exactly. And this is when Paulie just goes to the cafe and then he's walking and some guy walks past him and this guy actually greets him and he's like, "Are you from NATO?" But obviously he's speaking in Italian, so Paulie has no idea what he says. But this guy was actually played by the creator of the show, the writer. So weird cameo. Is what it is. But eventually we do get to agree for a deal. Furio's coming. The cars went down to 75 grand a car. And we're back in the States. Big Sal picks him up. This is where they're freaking out about Chris doing his shopping. And then we get...
Then Tony arrives home, opens the front door, he shouts, "I'm home." And that was at the end of the episode.
Carmela wanted to kill herself. And I'm going to give this episode...
5 out of 10 for me.
I'm going to give it a 4. And know what I think doesn't help it? I actually like the fact they went to a country, but I feel like it happens far too early in the show. I think if you're going to do this, it should be like final season. And I bet... I just feel like...
not building relationships for future seasons.
Well, I can...
If this thing never spoke of again.
This thing's never spoke of again.
There's just too much inconsistent... Does this Italian guy come over?
Furio?
Aye.
He came back with him.
He wasn't in the car.
Oh, I think it's the next episode he's in, but he does come into it, yeah.
I just feel like there's inconsistencies with Sopranos, and the fact that these Italians never get mentioned again in the entire show, that doesn't... So the whole car thing never gets brought up again?
No, pretty sure.
That does not surprise me.
Obviously, it
whatsoever.
might get brought up, like, if they're, like, talking about here, how much did we make for that? I can't actually remember if that conversation takes place, right?
Just compare it, though, right, to the Sons and the fact they're buying guns. Getting them for Ireland, the IRA. Look at how many times that's brought up in Sons over the 7 seasons.
I know, and this has just been brought up, so...
It's like a 1-episode special. Brought it up out of fucking nowhere.
I like the fact they went to Italy. I just feel like it could have done so much better.
Yeah, why were we not introduced to this whole concept of the stealing cars earlier? Why were we not made aware of the fact that they were going to Italy? I just don't get it, man.
And then, like we said, Richie Aprile, last episode, comes in with a bang, and it almost feels like all that's been undone. All the hate that he had going against Tony, it's the only thing good about this season, and it's just like that. It's not even in the episode. It's not even like we've seen him push for power while Tony and the crew are away. Nothing to do with him. Could we not have had him and Junior interact? We had Tony and Junior interact. Junior was like, "I've never been to the old country, big man." Anyway, right, it's a 4.5. Is season 2 worse than season 1 at this point?
I'd say so, yeah.
And there you have it, guys. Let's see if it gets better. But we're not at the halfway point yet.
There's just so much inconsistencies with the show.
Yeah, no, you're right.
It feels like you're watching a different show sometimes each episode.
The soundtrack's good. I'll give it that. But again, I just feel like they could have did a better job. It was like, "Oh, I'm going to Italy," and then the next scene, a plane.
Yeah.
Rather than like, could the end of the last episode not have like 5 minutes at the end been sort of like, "Here, we're going to Italy, we need to sort this car deal out," then the start of this episode's like them at the airport or something.
Yeah, but no.
Something like that. That's how a show should be done in my eyes. It shouldn't just be, "Oh, by the way, that we haven't introduced this car deal to you. This is happening." Ridiculous, right? Ridiculous. But anyway, we're giving it a 4.5. And until the next episode, peace, Commendatori, viva la race, good nighty.